Ron Gerlach, Stena Rederi AB, Technical Director.
Okay. You went through the Stena company and the fleet statistics earlier in your presentation. Could you just explain how many vessels there are in the whole group?
Sure. We currently operate 140 ships roughly, with a few new builds ongoing in the Far East at the moment, a couple of new ships coming on the methanol side, as a few methanol carriers, and we're also looking into more RoPax ships. So the fleet is expanding at the moment, and the current status is we have just below 40 roro and RoPax ships in the fleet, and the rest is tankers, and we also operate a few drilling units globally.
And how has Stena Line been going through the green transition?
Very much focused on future fuels, energy efficiency and operational efficiency, I would say. So starting with operational efficiency, really looking at the routes and the timetables, adjusting timetables to customer demand. So very much a customer-focused approach, I would say, where we really engage in dialogue with the customers. Where do you need the ship, when, and what capacity do we need? So we monitor freight flows, and we also monitor our passenger flow during the summer months to understand when do we have to have ships available at which port and for which departure time. And then when it comes to technical operations, we have clear focus on technical efficiency, always had. So we've done this for decades. We have introduced new systems where we look into potentially sales. But when it comes to electrical systems, for example, how do we reduce the energy needed on board? We look into the human element as well. How do we operate our ships from that perspective? We have developed what we call an AI pilot, where we have kind of a guiding support for the captains on board of our ships based on weather routing systems, based on base data of the ships. How do we perform in sea states? And given the route, how do they best adjust their speed and the course? Given we are a ferry operator, we cannot do many things when it comes to diverting of a course, but we can certainly do something. And it has shown that we can actually save up to 5% of fuel per annum across the fleet. So it's proven quite well. And then when it comes to future fuels, we have engaged quite early into methanol. We have converted our first ship, Stena Yamanica, in 2014 to methanol. At the time, it was mostly focused on the sulfur emission reduction. But now we can see methanol offers us the flexibility to mix blue, green methanol into the current gray methanol to sort of stay along the compliance line and make sure we can keep our ships in operation. So again, methanol is a focus and electrification. So shore power is something we have been doing since the 1990s already in the Dutch area, and we've expanding our shore power facilities across the network ever since. So currently all of our ships are actually running on shore power and are capable to run on shore power. And then going beyond steps there, when we look at some of our ships going forward, will be hybrid systems. So we have ships in operation on the Denmark-Sweden route, where we have a 1 megawatt-hour system on board. And that ship can basically operate in port under battery power. Then scaling this up, we have developments within Stena Roro, within our group, where we look into 9 up to 11.5 megawatt-hour ships. And then we currently investigate within Stena Technique into a fully battery-powered vessel for shorter trades between 2, 3, maximum 4 hours, with much higher installed power. That's a research project. We might have commercial applications, but that is something that is a little bit further down the road.
You mentioned also biofuels in the presentation. Where does Stena stand on their use?
So we have trialed biofuels for the tanker fleet, and we have trialed biofuels for the ferry fleet as well. Important here for us is to engage in dialogues with the biofuel producers and providers. And clear for us is we need to voice our expectations, and only then when the demand is clearly voiced, we can also expect supply to kick in. So we have run tests, we know we can do it, and for especially aging fleets, some of our ferries run now more than 40 years in service. So when we talk about retrofits, that would be quite an expense for a rather old ship. So biofuels, drop-in fuels is something we look into, especially for the older ship types.
And where are you on the development and implementation of electrification? You mentioned it briefly earlier in an answer.
Yeah, again, as I said, so we have the 1 megawatt-hour battery on one of the ships between Gothenburg and Frederikshavn, and then we have the scale-up on hybrid ships. And then again, full electrification is something where we are quite keen to do something. But again, we see a lot of development on the battery side. We don't know that's too early. We know there's new chemistries coming, new battery setups. So we want to make sure we're on the right tangent here to invest into battery power. And again, we're talking 50, 60, 70 megawatt hours installed power. So that's a decision we want to make sure we take the right decision on the system itself.
We also heard quite a bit about fuel cells at this conference over the last 2 days. Where does Stena stand on that technology?
So far, we have no plans to go for fuel cells, but that doesn't mean we will not. We right now focus on methanol, biofuels, electrification, but we have a very clear focus, especially in our technical division, on the development of fuel cells, and especially what we heard today, especially on the solid oxide fuel cells, potentially being powered by methanol as well. Different flexibility in fuel power, that might be very interesting for us indeed. So something to look out for from our side. Yeah.
And also, here at the conference, what have you gained from being at this conference in Bergen?
I think it's amazing that we are so many people here. It's actually a lot larger than I expected it to be. It's fantastic. The diversity we have in the audience here, I think especially to be around so many people from the industry and exchange knowledge is fantastic. And to just see where everybody else is sitting and that we speak very clearly also, again, from a ship owner perspective, what do we look for when it comes to battery power, when it comes to fuel cells, etc., and to get the feedback straight away is absolutely fantastic. So to see we're all on a very common roadmap here, and obviously regulations are going to be more stronger, customer demand is going to be stronger. So to have the immediate response here and to engage in network is a fantastic opportunity.